Hello, and welcome to another episode of The End of the Search. This one I call it, I am like a bridge. What do I mean by that? Well, we hear a lot about non-duality, the nature of our being, and these videos are pointing towards that, but I see myself more like in the middle point. What I mean by that is that some may suggest that they may have what is referred to as the drop of the me. I never had that experience. So I cannot tell you about the dropping of the me completely. However, I've had experiences that suggest that I am more than this thing that I claim to be. You see? That there is something more beyond this seeming appearance of me. One was happening when I was walking with a former girlfriend, and there was a lot of movement, something, a lot of suffering, something going on within me. And all of a sudden, she said something along the lines of, the self that you think you are is not you. I don't know exactly what she said, but there was a seeming dropped, completely dropped of all the suffering, it was it was sort of like an emptiness. I don't know how to describe it. It's impossible to describe. There was still the perception of a me that it was having that experience. That's why I cannot say a non-dual experience, which, by the way, if it's non-dual, is not an experience, because non-duality would imply the complete absence of the seeming me. But that gave me a taste of the capacity of the mind, the nervous system, to completely drop. You see? And of course, the danger with that, not a danger, but the challenge with it is that some people may suggest that they want to have that experience again. And some may even associate with some sort of awakening or enlightenment or so, and then they try to pursue that, and that may never happen again. So that may generate some suffering. And the other one I had is when which inspired the book I Am, in which everything seems to appear and disappear, in which I woke up one morning and I had a sense that I am, but that this body is an appearance in the I am. I don't know how to explain that. It's just like there was a sense, a clear sense, that this body, this seeming me, it's an appearance in the vastness of the fact that I am, and everything is an appearance in that. But again, that was still a perceptual experience. You see, so it's not that I disappeared, but there was a clear sense that this me, this seeming body, is an experience in something vast. Exactly. So I don't know how to explain. So these sort of experiences led me to the recognition, beyond the shadow of a doubt, that I am much more than this seeming contraction, right? Now, why do I mean by being a bridge? Bridge means that the purpose of these videos is to share information that is actually practical, that you can digest, and you can put it to the test within the context in which you appear to be. So, in these videos, for example, one of the things that is talked about is that right now, this experience, which you are having right now, or you seem to be having right now, within the context of this appearance, is the experience of feeling or being alive. It's aliveness. And that is undeniable. You cannot negate the fact that you are. And that's for sure. Okay? You cannot say you're not. You cannot say you're not being. It's just beingness. It just is. And if you're really willing to do the investigation, you see that it is such. I am. I exist. I cannot negate that. Okay? Now, pay attention. Notice that existence is untouched, unmovable, by any thoughts, feelings, or sensations. It's just sort of like the space in which thoughts, feelings, sensations appear in or seems to appear in. So that is for sure a fact. Okay? So now, when you notice the feelings or the thoughts, what would happen if you do not identify with any of the thoughts that seems to be appearing in you, in the beingness that you are? What you notice is that when there's no identification with the content of the mind, you are experiencing what is referred to as the peace that surpasses all understanding. That is my experience. That is what I share through these videos. That's why these videos, I tell you from the very beginning, I'm sharing my experience. If there's a resonance with it, then you can go ahead and play with it. You see, you can have the direct experience of where this is pointing to. Because the fact is that right now, if there's no identification, if there's no belief in the thoughts, in the content of the mind, you're simply being. You see? And this is the practicality, if we want to use that word, or what these videos are pointing to. I don't claim to be a sort of non-dual teacher or anything like that, because again, non-duality is the whole disappearance of the whole thing. It's just seen right through the veil, It's just something that cannot be talked about. But I can point to something that is very practical, because again, that is how life, the experience that life is leading me to live. Everything is a happening. And the other thing that I know beyond the shadow of a doubt, that again is very practical, is that I know that I am not the doer. And again, all of this is not because I am hearing this, it's because there's an investigation that has to be done. You need to do the investigation to see that this is such. Don't take anything I say as the absolute truth, because then you're taking my word, and these videos are not about put myself in a position of authority. No, I'm just simply sharing this as part of the play that is unfolding through me, and it's my experience. And again, do the investigation. How do I know that I am not the doer? I go in detail in the video that is called Do We Have Free Will? I suggest you watch that video, but just to give you a quick glimpse of it, I noticed that I don't choose the thoughts, I don't choose the words, I don't choose the feelings. They happen. So obviously, if thoughts happen, if feelings happen, if words, it's all of this happen, and I'm not choosing them, I must not be the doer of whatever experience I may be happening at all times. And if every decision that is made, and I made videos on this, every decision is based upon a previous thought or a previous event, and the event is caused by life itself, not by me, how can I take ownership of that experience? How can I suggest that I am the one who's doing anything? These words are just happening, they seem to flow through. Being here, doing these videos, everything, this is just a happening. Whatever seems to be taking place throughout my life is just a happening. And when you do the investigation and see that this is such, then you take a huge weight off your shoulder. You see? And yes, the mind will come up with questions or ideas that, well, if I'm not in charge of my life and I'm destined to suffer, there's nothing I can do about it. And I always reiterate that, although to make sure that there's congruency with this, yes, that would be the case. And at the same time, if life, which is what is living you, is leading you to information like this, so you know that you are more than what you think you've been or what you think you are, it could be said that now life, or whatever you want to call it, through you is beginning to know that it is something that is not limited to the seeming me, and consequently you can experience the healing of this false idea of what you thought you were. So in that sense, you could celebrate, you see? Why would life lead you to information like this if you're destined to suffer and life wants you to suffer? It makes no sense. So therefore, if you're being now exposed to this information, maybe that, whatever you want to call it, through this seeming you, through this seeming me, is beginning to recognize as such. So you don't have to go with that thought that suggests if I'm supposed to suffer my whole life, there's nothing I can do, because now within doing the investigation, again, you can see that that is just a thought, isn't it? Now, I know these videos may not be very popular and not be for everybody, because for the most part, what people or the personality wants is to pursue things, go after things and everything, and that's perfectly fine. I'm not here to take away your dreams or your ambitions or anything. I'm simply pointing to that if for some reason you come to the realization that all the things that you so much pursue doesn't seem to bring you fulfillment, doesn't seem to fulfill that lack that you seem to be experiencing, it's only because you're identified with the thought me, and consequently now by feeling separate you think that anything out there is going to complete you. And what these videos are pointing to is that you are completeness already. You see, they're always pointing back to you. Right now, here is the fullness of being. But if I believe that I'm this separate entity, I'm feeling separate, and consequently, I think that more pleasure is going to give me what is missing in me. There's nothing missing in you. You're perfect, whole, and complete, just as you are, and that's what these videos are about. And remember, I'm not talking to you, the person. You, the person, is not perfect, whole, and complete. You as consciousness, as being, as this is perfect, whole, and complete. And this is what is being reminded all the time. And that's why this always points to silence. Silence doesn't mean the absence of noise, doesn't mean the absence of perception, doesn't mean the absence of thought. It just implies the space-like in which all of this seems to appear and disappear. And right now, the way we put this to the test, if you're willing to do the investigation, is right now. Again, act as if you could not believe your thoughts, because these videos are paradoxical. What do I mean by that? Is that at the same time, that you seem to be the producer, the actor, and the protagonist of your own movie, simultaneously you play extra on a much bigger play. So at the same time that it appears that I'm the one saying these words, simultaneously I know that these words are said through me. Okay, so again, act as if you have the freedom of choosing not to believe the thoughts, while at the same time you know that that is not the case. So anyhow, let's put this to the test to see that this is not esoteric. This is not something that is going to happen in the future. It's something that you have access to right this moment, if the willingness is there. Okay, so right now, right this moment, don't believe any thoughts. I didn't say they will not be there. This is not about controlling thoughts, because you have to believe them to try to control them. I'm simply saying thoughts appear like sounds appear, seeing, perception seems to appear, and that's just an appearance. That's fine. So right now, if you don't believe any thoughts, if you don't believe them, what remains? Now notice that the mind wants to answer, because the mind needs to engage. And the mind is a thought, by the way, that's what I mean. So right now, if you don't believe any thought, just open, completely open. If you don't believe any thoughts, what remains? And notice that you will not be able to answer what remains, but you cannot deny what remains. And what remains is this. You see? And this is what I mean by beingness. Beingness in a true sense is the absence of the seeming me, but within the context in which we appear to be, beingness is simply the experience of being right now. Isn't it? So right now, if you don't believe any thoughts, they're seen, they're there, that's fine, let them be. But if you just simply rest in this beingness that I'm pointing to, if you don't believe any thoughts, just what remains. And you see, that's the experience That's not theory. It's still a sense of a me that is having the experience, but at least notice that the nature of the experience is lighter. I'm not trying to point you to the dropping of the seeming me, because that turns into a goal. And that can generate again suffering, because what if the dropping of the me never happened? I never had the dropping of the me. That's what I cannot tell you about it, but I know that from experience there's a way of living life that is different than the way I used to when I believed the content of the mind. And this is practical. This is not esoteric. You see? So yeah, thoughts appear, sensations appear, everything, movement seems to appear, but it's seen as such. It's inconsistent. You just movement. Sometimes you feel one way, sometimes you feel a different way. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just part of the experience of seeming, or being a seeming human being. That's dualistic nature of this experience. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. That's why I'm not trying to get you to become something, because again, that's what the human is trying to become. I'm just pointing to what is obvious right now. This is it. You see? And now you're looking at the residue. Oh, the things that I want to do, the desires. I'm not saying that you have to suppress any of that. They can be there. That's fine. Let them be. But now they're seen instead of believed in. And then a thought appears, but that means that I cannot do those things and enjoy life and pursue my goals and my dreams. No, again, if you're pursuing that stuff, maybe these videos are not for you. But I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that. I'm saying that if the desire comes, just watch it. And if you're supposed to pursue that, then life will move you in that direction. So we're not sacrificing anything. We're just simply seeing right through the veil. You see it right through the Maya. If I have desire to do something, I'll do something. But I know, like I said before, that it's not me who's choosing that desire. It's just life expressing through me. So again, this is very simple. It's very obvious. Right now, this is all there is. This is life. Beingness. And that beingness is pure peace, is joy. The beingness itself. What you superimpose upon it with thoughts is what creates the illusion of movement and again the ups and the downs and everything. But resting and beingness, this is it. This is what this is so pointing to. And you see, this is have nothing to do with the dropping of the me. It has nothing to do with the non-dualism or anything. It's just simply the fact that I am. You see? And this is what I said, I'm sort of like a bridge between the belief strongly that you think you're the seeming person, and then the recognition that you're more than that. And again, this is practical, this is not esoteric. Right now, if you don't believe any thoughts, what remains? And if you do the investigation, you'll find out that you cannot say what remains, because what remains is what is beingness, is life. And that is always, that never changes. Thoughts change, sensations change, perception changes, but that which is the capacity of knowing it, the awareness of it never changes. It's just pure beingness, it's just life. You see, and that's what I said, you're alive. You are life. You don't choose to breathe. Breathing happens. What is doing that? Seeing happens, sensations happens, hearing happens, but what is doing that? What is causing all of that? You cannot tell, but it's just an appearance, or a seeming appearance. So right now, rest in this. And once you can see it right through all that, then everything is okay. Again, you don't feel that you're sacrificing anything. You don't feel like you're dropping or letting go, or or abandoning anything. You just see life unfolding, and you will do whatever you're supposed to do, and you will not do whatever you're not supposed to do. And the difference is that before you thought that one thing was important, the other one wasn't, and now you see that nothing is important, everything simply is. And you rest, you see? And you're at peace with what is. And you're happy. Happy doesn't mean pleasure. You're laughing all the time. You're happy because there's a contentment. There's a lightheartedness. It's like, wow, you know. And the ups are seen as such, and the downs are seen as such. They're not seen as ups and downs anymore. They may be experienced to an extent like such, but in reality, you just see that it's just life unfolding. Today you feel one way, tomorrow you feel differently. In the morning you feel one way, in the afternoon you feel differently, but it doesn't matter. It's just part of the play of the unfoldment of this play. But you know that you are. You're not the play, you are in which the play seems to appear. So you rest in the beingness that you are. This is what this is all pointing to. Again, this is why this is simple. I'm not saying that it's easy because there's a strong conditioning with this me, but if you really are willing to do the investigation and look through it, you realize it is very simple. Life is living itself. Life is doing it all, and you are life. And well, this is inspiration that came through. I hope it served. And as always, may peace permeate the mind so that love can become evident.